Recording has started. Take over, Ross.
Okay, great. All right, we're going to call the transition meeting, which the Board of Directors meeting for Tuesday, January 20th, 2015 for the International Segway Polo Association. Sherry, would you take roll, please?
Yes, we have Ross.
Yes, here.
Van Riesen, absent. Kreforst.
Yes, here.
Steve Ozdemir.
Here.
Sherry Ozdemir. Here. Funky.
Yes, here.
And Luther.
Right here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, first off, the December 9th minutes, Sherry, did they, those went out? I haven't seen them, so I will abstain from approving those, but have they gone out?
Yeah, they went out within a week after the meeting.
Okay, fantastic. So if anyone would like to motion to approve those, maybe Bo or Steve?
Yep, I'll motion to approve them.
Okay. And second? Sherry, Bo, either one?
Can I second my own?
Second.
Sure, I second
Absolutely.
it.
All right, seconded by Sherry. And they don't need to have a vote on those, just a first and a second, just to approve those. So the approval of the December 9th minutes have been approved. And before we move on to item number 5, I'm going to kind of go a little bit out of order today. So for those of you following along, please excuse the out of order. It's a transition meeting. So I just wanted to say welcome to the new board members. Olaf Funke is taking over as chairman, and an amazing job in the past, and one of the people that's heralded this sport along, and probably I think undeniably the sport would not be in the place that it is without his stewardship and leadership. So the membership is very lucky to have Olaf back in, and Ralph, who is worked very hard to bring the Bayesian team, and not only the Bayesian team, but worked in the community as well, and has always been a volunteer, is going to take over in the treasurer role. And so we're excited and happy to have him on board as well. So welcome to both of you. This is a great time because we're really working hard to grow the sport and also grow the organization. And so it's really my privilege to go through and talk about some of the things we've done, and call on Sherry and Steve as well, because and Bo, without their help, we wouldn't be where we're at as well. So normally we would go through and do action items, which are voting items, and but most of these are going to be moved into informational items. So it looks like, Sherry, 5E is the only one that we need to vote on. Is that the passing responsibilities? I think, I'm sorry, 5D, which is the distribution of funds.
Yeah, 5E should have been moved up to scheduled presentations, and the distribution of funds we actually already voted on, but it was going to be completed. So it hasn't been completed, I guess is the question.
I believe it has been completed. Steve, you can comment on that. Is the distribution to Sherry been done?
Yes.
Okay. So 5D has been completed. There's nothing else there's no voting on that at all. So really we don't have any action items here. I'm going to move all of this to 6, and because I'd rather move everything to 6 and come back to 4 later, because it doesn't make sense to transition the board until we're done. So if that's okay with everybody, I don't think it's going to be a problem. So
No.
All right. So we're going to go from number 5A is actually going to be number 6A, and we're going to start with 6B. So Sherry, can you provide election updates and let us know what you had planned on that particular thing?
Yeah, I was just going to go ahead and convey the final results, which everyone knows. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make this meeting, so I just wanted to make it clear. We did have a full election. We had a very good participation, and our
what kind of
final results.
Did we have?
I don't know. The specifics I think are presented in the December meeting minutes, but
you can take guesses. We're okay.
It's okay. I don't remember what the number was, but it was really good.
Okay, I thought it was greater
above
than 35% or something like that.
No, it was above 60%, I believe.
Oh yeah, it was well above the 50% mark. That's for sure. It was probably closer to 70 of the active members, and we did have a nice increase in membership as well, almost a membership drive, so to speak, that people seem to, I don't know if they were interested in the actual election or if they were swayed by the fact that you might as well go ahead and join now, because if you plan to participate in the WAS Cup in June or in July, then you're going to need to be a member anyway, so why not go ahead and pay up your membership? And actually came to be most of those people that did go ahead and renew their memberships also voted. So as we know, our results were Olaf is the new chairman, and Ralph is the new treasurer, and Bo is remaining in his member-at-large position. He was reelected by landslide.
Well, not surprising with what Bo's been doing for the organization. So, all right. Well, congratulations there. Going to, so that's the election update 5B. Steve, did you want to talk about 5C?
Sure. Sorry about that. We had a little emergency in the kitchen there. The financial request from Ralph was to get the PayPal transactions, I believe, for the last year or so, along with the bank account ones, and I'm in a position where I can go over that with him, but I haven't produced the actual, like a set of statements or anything like that.
Okay. Well, the logins we can provide directly, and I am working with the bank to transition the account from one that was started by me and under my my Social Security number. And I guess I'll just ask this: I don't know in Germany or in Barbados if you guys have Social Security numbers that are like that for those countries. It's basically a number that's given to you by the government that follows you for life, and recognizes you for taxes and everything else. Do you guys have those things?
We have it in Germany.
Yeah.
It's last year, I think last or 2 years ago.
Hi guys. Rob, I lived in the US. I have a social security number. I have bank accounts. I have a credit rating.
Oh, okay.
That'd be perfect.
I can take that over for all intents and purposes. For if you don't share this with anybody, but for most credit purposes, I'm a resident of the US.
Okay.
I am.
Well, we don't have. The nice thing is that
resident of the US, but for what my credit record looks like and those things, I have a social security number, and I have an ongoing banking history since 1996.
Right. Okay, that's fantastic. The only the good thing is we won't actually we had when we started the bank account for the ISPA, we weren't a valid company, so we didn't really exist, and we had to form the bank account to be able to provide transactions. So the bank account was formed under my name. But we don't have to transition it to a person anymore because we are now a valid corporation. So the good news is that I'm just working with the bank to transfer it over to the International Segway Pole Association, which, as far as the United States is concerned, they see the organization as a person. So it has its own employer identification number, which is what the bank will need. So I'm just working to get that transition done. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I just didn't want to say. I just didn't want to talk about my Social Security number if nobody knew what I was talking about. But it sounds like it's very similar in each country. So
also, Rob will need to take the same steps you did with me with the account with Ralph's computer.
What do you mean?
Well, remember how I had a few weeks ago? We were doing some texting.
You'll have to talk to me offline because I don't remember.
Okay, no problem.
But whatever you need, I'm more than happy to figure it out.
All right, we'll work on that. Okay.
Okay, so let's. Try to with the bank itself.
Right, you're following. Okay.
Yeah, that's no problem. And
so we'll get Ralph all set up on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, sorry, just to go back for the benefit of everyone, the account that is current, the bank account that backs the PayPal that everyone pays in right now. So sorry, let me ask it this way. Teamer payments that people make online, where does that money end up right now?
I believe it ends up in the PayPal account.
Okay, is that still Steve Long's or somebody's PayPal account?
It was originally, I would recommend that the board establish a new PayPal account and reset that up. The reason that we didn't choose to do that is because it was the PayPal account that's been used by the ISPA since its inception, but it is under the name of Stuart Moore.
Right.
Oh, Stuart Moore. Okay, sorry.
But,
all right, so
I would recommend that we do a new one. And then the PayPal account is linked for deposits directly to the bank account.
Correct. Yeah, I have a PayPal account that's linked to a credit union account in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I'm familiar with that, but I just want to understand now. So once you have set up the bank account that is in the name of ISPA, how does this work? Who are the signatories? Who's authorized to make changes to that account vis-a-vis the bank? If there's a checkbook or if there's any wire transfers to be made, any of that stuff, who are going to be the individuals that are named to be authorized to deal with that account?
So that's a fantastic question. So a little bit of history. The bank account was established in, I believe, 2012 or 2011, and it was established as a standard corporate bank account. However, for tax purposes, it needed at the time it needed a person associated with it. So I put that under my name. Mm-hmm. So when I'm not going to reestablish the bank account. We're just converting the owner of the bank account from currently myself to the ISPA as an organization. When that conversion happens, then the signature cards will be sent out to the current. It's really up to the board. My recommendation would be to the treasurer and to the chairman,
right?
So that there's a backup.
Yep.
And then those signature cards, when they're sent back, I'll bring them over to the bank and drop them off and get them, or they might be able to be sent direct. I'm not sure, but either way, then those would be the current signature for signature transactions. All electronic banking can be done online through the online access, which is significant, including writing of checks and everything else can be done online. So that will be likely the easiest way for people to do it. And then each year there is or I should say each time either the treasurer or each year there are changes as the board changes, there are changes in the organizational structure for both banking and 501c3. Which we'll talk about in a minute. But for the banking standpoint, Ralph, the only time that you would need to have those signature cards changed is when the treasurer and or chairman change positions, and then the new chairman will just send out, or the new chairman or new treasurer will send out those cards and get those to the bank.
Which actually will be 2 years from now, so the next time will be January 2017.
Okay.
Right.
And then what we will do is we will close the Stuart Moore PayPal account completely, transfer or settle any balance, and we will then just create a new PayPal account in the ISPA name against the account.
I would think that would be smoother. The PayPal account that's currently the one that we're using that's under Stuart's name, he doesn't use it, nor does he have access to it. So it's not that it's insecure. It's just that I think it would be better to have it in the name of the ISPA.
Okay. So you will give us the credentials, and then I can decide with Olaf
Absolutely.
whether we want to go through the hassle of changing it or whether we keep Stuart Moore in there for now. Okay.
Correct.
And then
it's just the name. So
okay, and then the Teamer interface financially goes. How does Teamer verify receipt of payments? Through PayPal or through credit card or anything, or a direct?
Well, Teamer logs the payments itself. Well, first of all, any transaction done through PayPal is logged inside of PayPal. But the Teamer does have an accounting interface that tracks income and expenses. So I recommend, from a tax purpose standpoint, that we just use that to track. It would be
the tracking we'll deal with. No, it's just where does the money go physically? Does it go to an individual?
It goes to PayPal.
PayPal.
So Teamer links to PayPal. So if someone goes on and signs up for a membership, it goes into our PayPal account.
Yeah, and
not against the ABA check number of the account.
I'm sorry, say that again?
No, it doesn't link to the account. It links to PayPal and then by extension to the account.
yes.
That's correct. PayPal then links the account.
That's all I need to know. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll go through that too, because I have to sign myself up as a member and make the payments now that I'm just a regular guy. So you'll be able to track me going through the whole system.
Yeah, and Steve currently knows more about the membership structure than anybody on Teamer. So, and we'll talk about Teamer in a minute. So,
but Sherry's up on all this too, by the way.
Yes, actually, that's
right.
correct. I know Sherry's gone through a lot of it together. So, okay, let's see, that was 5C. So, I'm going to jump on to 5A. First of all, I know I've announced this internally to the board, but I have not announced it officially to anyone outside. But I am overjoyed and happy to put to rest and just celebrate an accomplishment that we've done. As of December 14th, 2014, the ISPA is a recognized United States nonprofit organization filed under the Internal Revenue Code of 501c3. Essentially, in a nutshell, what that really means is that what that really means is that the ISPA will no longer pay taxes on the money it earns, and that any person who gives donations to the ISPA will be able to write off that donation amount or reduce their tax amount by that donation given. So where that really plays a big role is, one, any revenue we take in is just not taxable. So all of the membership income, all of the WASCUP income, anything that we do that's a revenue source for us, the government will not take taxes out. They will not count it as profit, which is great. The second
That's
part
federal
of
and state, or?
Say that?
That's federal and state?
Federal and state, that's correct.
Okay.
And then on the other side, from a donation standpoint, any type of a company that sponsors the ISPA, whether that sponsorship is financially or through goods and services, they'll be able to take their sponsorship amount, and on their corporate taxes, they'll be able to record that it was a donation to a nonprofit organization. And because of our designated status, they will be able to write that off on their taxes or reduce their taxable amount. There are a lot of corporations out there, including Segway corporate headquarters, that will not do any financial donations or otherwise to a company that is not a 501c3 or a nonprofit. And it's specifically because if they do, the U.S. government taxes them on the donation that they gave as it was profit. So if they gave, $10,000, they're likely going to pay another $3,000 or $4,000 in taxes on that money that they donated, and that reduces the amount that they're willing to give, and it also becomes a headache for them. But if they donate to a 501c3 corporation, then they can donate that $10,000, and the U.S. government will actually allow them to reduce their income by that donation. So it reduces their taxable income. It's a great way for companies in the United States to get rid of money that otherwise would just go to the government. So there are a lot of companies in the United States that literally will donate to charitable organizations just to get rid of money. It sounds silly, but this is a enormous boon for this and for the organization, and it's something that we've been trying to do since. Stuart and Alex have been trying to do this back. I want to say, Steve, you might know better, but I want to say like 2006.
It was Bob who first got the idea and handed it to Jim around 2009 or 10, wasn't it?
Well, I thought that it happened, that the goal was to become a 501c3 prior to even WASCUP 2008.
I think actually Bob and Jim were the first two to really start taking steps.
Okay.
So,
Bob
yeah.
who, by the way? Bob who?
You're Bob.
Bob who?
Me?
Yeah,
Oh,
Bob.
no.
Bob with you over in Folsom.
No. I wasn't the first one.
No.
No, there was an attorney that was
Oh,
part of ISPA.
yes.
That was
Way
working on
back
it for
when. You're
years
right.
before I took it over.
You're right. I'm mistaken. There was someone who was looking into that, but it really didn't take. I mean, I wasn't in the board, so I don't know. But
Yeah,
I don't think there was any steps that were taken there.
No, so I was on the board, so no steps was taken. And before I was ruling the board, so there was not really an interest in being a 5013 something.
501c3.
Yes, 501c3.
Yeah.
And so there was not a bank account and all these things. We started. And the start was with Rob and Bob. I think when we talked in Fulham during the championship.
Yeah, I honestly, that's fine. It doesn't matter about the history, but this even predates you, Olaf. This goes back prior to, it goes back way before even 2008, which is, I think that was the first, if I know my history right, wasn't that the first game that Germany attended in the U.S.?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
So it goes back prior to that. The ISPA had hired an attorney.
Yeah, but ISPA only came,
but he was doing it on a volunteer basis, and it never happened.
Yeah, so. But ISPA only came into existence just prior to 2008 because of that move by someone up in the Nordic countries.
Oh, because of the WASP.
Right. So that's the earliest it could have been.
Huh.
Not 2006 or 2007, or at least not in any official capacity. It may have been Stuart and Alex, for Bay Area, right? They may have been.
It very well could have been. Either way, it took. December 14th. So we worked on it to get it done for 2 years. It is by far the most coveted thing that. And it's very hard, I understand, for people from that don't understand the internal revenue code here and understand all of why this is important. But this is probably the single most important thing that's happened to this organization since its inception.
And going forward, it will definitely be evident.
Yeah, it will be, because we'll be able to actually solicit donations from people and not get taxed on that. And it's. And again, I'm sure that Olaf and Ralph, you may know about it, but Olaf, if you at some point want to sit down and talk about it, and I can explain it in more detail. This just really isn't the place, but I can explain it in more detail, and I promise you that it will. It has the ability to allow our organization to bring in large sums of money from companies that they could not do as of prior to December of this year.
I can throw out an example if you want.
Sure, if you want. Go ahead.
Rob, you remember when you were putting on WAS Cup in 2011?
Oh, in Intel?
Yeah. And I was going to make a donation, to help out. And my employer at the time, Hewlett Packard, was willing to match any donation that an individual makes, as long as the organization was 501c.
Right.
Or 501c3, sorry.
C3, yeah. C3 is different.
Right.
Well, and Intel offered to give us $15,000 towards WASCUP, no strings attached. They wanted, as a sponsorship of WASCUP, they were going to just give us $15,000, which would have made the year that would have made our WASCUP profitable by over $10,000. And as soon as they found out that we were not a 501c3, they were not able to give that sponsorship to us. And it was just. It's just free money. So it's large amounts of free money that can now be sought after from U.S. companies, and that's a great thing. So,
question?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Question. I'm sure it's hard for me from here to find U.S. companies willing giving money or donate money to the ISPA. But it would be great that we can collect all this money people want to get rid of. So
the reason that they
who can do that?
The reason they want to get rid of it is to try to explain it with a very simple way.
I understand the reason. Sorry, I understand the reason.
Oh, okay.
But it's hard for me from here to find U.S. companies, for example. So it's hard for Ralph or for Bo too. And I think
Well, the first one, Olaf, that we're working on is Alexander is making tremendous inroads with Segway Corporate, and they have agreed that once we become a 501c3, that they will work with us on tangible donations. So
great.
That's the first one right there.
What the question? My point is, are there people in the US collecting this money, going to companies and say, hey, this is a good invest, so bring it to the ISPA?
There's no companies that will go and like search out, who is interested in doing the donations. But what you'll do is we look for, large companies that the ISPA would be a good partner for. For example, I know Steve Long had approached, Tesla Motor Cars for a while. And, they really would be a good resource for us. There are also large, companies that produce electricity out here that, would be a good fit for them to say that they're sponsoring fully electric sport and those types of things. Those things are all kinds of, that all of those companies are multi-billion-dollar companies that have established processes of how they donate money and who they donate money to. So, those are examples of companies that it simply just takes someone to go onto the website and look and say, hey, this is, here's a company who might be interested in doing some promotion, with us or sponsoring us.
Yeah.
So
it's often used as a sort of a check mark. You'll get into some discussions with a representative of the company, and you make progress, and then eventually, as you work your way through whatever process they have within that company, they come to the check mark or checkbox of, are they 501c3? And the moment you say no, that it ends. Everything stops. The process ends, and
that's it.
Yeah.
I understand that fully. So
I wouldn't view this necessarily as ensuring a flow of funds so much as removing a roadblock that you'll surely run into.
and ultimately, just so we're clear, 501c3, just so everybody knows, it's just the number in the tax code of a certain type of nonprofit organization. There's all kinds of those, but in the U.S., you could say we are a nonprofit organization, and what they'll ask you is what type.
Right.
And the type that you are is a 501c3,
and doors open at that point.
And it does, because it's the most coveted type of nonprofit that you can be. So we could talk for hours on it, but we'll get Olaf. Rest assured that I will. I'm not going anywhere from that standpoint, and I'll make sure that I get everybody up to speed on that and answer any questions that we need to ask, and so that you guys can formulate some sort of game plan on how to deal with that. And there's requirements each year that when the board changes over, you have to fill out a form that tells the federal government who is on the board of directors. So, and I've already done that for 2015. So we'll talk about that. But just understand that is it is literally the single largest thing that's ever happened to this organization. And it's hard to understand it from the outside world, but I'll tell you, in the U.S., it's a gold mine. So, okay. So let's see. Any other questions, 501c3, before we move on? Okay. That brings us to...
Sorry, guys. Sorry, Rob. Sorry.
That's right. Yes, sir.
I had my off because I had a bit of background noise. I was listening to everything, but I assume this has been checked, but this is something I've been wanting to ask. The fact that we have a protected brand name in the official name of the organization that we're asking to be tax exempt is not an issue?
I might need you to explain a little bit more what you mean by a protected brand name.
He means we have Segway in our name.
Oh, that's not an issue, because Segway Corporate has allowed the use of Segway in the name of our organization, and any one of the teams can now use the name Segway in their organization name. So they haven't had a problem with that, and Alexander is working on an official letter from them that states that that's going to be part of our ongoing work with them.
Yeah, and Ralph, 4 years ago, your concerns would have been they would have had good. You would have had good reasons to be concerned. But recently, Segway Inc. has definitely gotten to the point where they recognize us and are working with us.
I'm not worried about Segway Inc. I'm worried about the taxman saying we're promoting a for-profit business by using their name and not for-profit organization.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question. There's no worries about that at all. That has no effect whatsoever.
Yeah, because we're not actually under Segway Inc. If we were, then yeah, it would be a problem.
Yeah, I think what Ralph's saying is that because we have the word Segway in our name,
right?
Does the IRS consider us promoting a brand? And the answer to that is no.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are plenty of those types of companies that are out there. Select. Just really quickly, I'm just going to give I'm just going to do a 2 second, really quickly 2 second search here that will bring up. So I just searched for all nonprofits in the entire United States that have the word Segway in them, and there is a company out of Newport Beach called the Segway Project Incorporated that has the same designation as us, and they have been a nonprofit for quite some time. So we're okay. So we're fine.
It's Newport Beach, California, right?
Newport Beach,
California.
Segway Project Inc. Yeah.
I'll have to remember that. Thanks.
Yeah, don't know anything about them. Didn't actually do any lookup. So,
yeah.
Ralph, any other questions?
Not for now.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
No problem. So the final thing is changing over the official reins to Mr. Funke and getting that transition to happen. And so we don't really have an official way to do this. So please consider this made up. But so at this point, Olaf, I'm just gonna say something that turns everything over to you, and then we can go to. I don't think there's any new business not on the agenda because it would be listed. So we'll just go to board member comments and then an adjournment. And then I would recommend that if we could all stay on the line for a few more minutes after we officially close the meeting, so that we can just talk to each other on our way out. So at this point, I officially turn the control of the International Segway Polo Association to the new chairman of the board, Mr. Olaf Funke. So congratulations, Olaf. Thank you very much for taking over.
Thank you.
Sorry, guys. Just before we move on, Rob, you mentioned in passing that you had filed the new director's information for the 501(c)(3) status. Just for the record, you will be uploading. I mean, I've looked at what you've uploaded on Box, and obviously the articles of incorporation and the names at the time, the board members were very different from what it is today. How do we get access to any paperwork you're going to be uploading that, I'm assuming?
I already have uploaded that to Box. So if you log into the Box account, there's a I don't remember what I called the folder, but it's right on
the SI 100 form.
That's correct. That's the new one.
Okay. All right. Good. Yeah. No, I saw there was some new stuff in there. Okay.
Yeah, that's the new one that was created. So I did already upload that.
And I talked a little bit about it when Olaf was here. So with regards to the address, just clarify the Gold Meadow Way Suite. That's your new office, right?
That's my office address, and you're welcome to get a PO box or something, and a post office box address in the U.S. and pay for it. But I'm also willing to allow the ISPA to continue to use that as a valid address at any
Well,
time.
I was going to ask, and we would very much appreciate that. Now, Olaf had a concern, and maybe you can just address that. When we were here sitting and going through the possible scenarios, he expressed the concern that in case there's some written correspondence arriving at your office, it may take a long time to arrive. My argument was, well, most written correspondence will probably be originating in the US, and if we change the address to elsewhere or some sort of forwarding mechanism, we could probably, hopefully, and this is where we just need your confirmation that we can rely on you or your staff to promptly notify us of anything that comes in. And I don't know, we may be able to discuss with Olaf to what extent any correspondence that may have to be opened, whether either one of the other board members or whether you can then temporarily act on the board's behalf and take something out of an envelope and scan it or something.
Yeah, I mean, my staff
didn't come to a final solution, but if you have a suggestion before Olaf makes a decision on that, I just want to clarify that for now, for the 2015, we'll be able to use your office address if we chose to do so.
And Sherry's Sherry's geographically close to Rob, so if you needed a board of director to open it, it could be done.
So let me address that. I think that we can address that. So a couple of things. One, you're going to be required to maintain a U.S. address at some point. One, for the bank account, and two, also for the 501c3. You will.
Right.
So you're going to have that. What most companies will do is establish, if they're going to get a lot of traffic for mail traffic, it would be established in the country that as a secondary address. So if you wanted to have a European address for the ISPA and that Olaf wanted to establish in Germany, that's fine, or anywhere else in the world, you could also do that. With regard to documents that would be sent to my office, my staff currently is instructed when anything comes in for the ISPA that it gets scanned and emailed to me. My email puts it into a box that I know that it's for the ISPA, and I'd be happy to forward that out to you. So we could have that situation. My employees are insured and everything else, so there's no, I can't imagine anything in the ISPA that's top secret, but if for some reason we got something that was top secret, we'd be happy to not open it. So it's your call, but I would think the easiest solution would just simply be for us to open it, scan it, and then we'll email it out to Olaf, and Olaf can distribute, or to Sherry and she can distribute, whatever your preference is. But in the entire 2 years that we have we've been dealing with the board, we've received 4 pieces of mail, and all of them were related to the 501c3. So
yeah, I mean, that's from my angle, that's my main concern. I don't want to miss any deadlines, if there's any filings, any notifications.
We can scan and email that out to everybody within 24 hours. So
that's the only concern I had, and then
we're happy to do it. I don't have a problem with it at all, but that's your guys' call. My office is at your disposal for whatever you need for anything. So just take that for what it's worth. So, and we just celebrated 15 years in business, so I don't think we're moving anywhere. So
big offices, of course.
Yeah, big corporate office maybe one day, but I doubt it.
Think smart tower.
Yeah. Well, that'll be interesting. So.
Give him time. Give him time.
I need some time. So.
Number one, think smart drive.
Yeah, that would be good. Infinite loop circle like Apple. Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Any other comments before we move on to BOD member comments? Anybody else?
Yeah, one from me.
Yes,
so my concern was about having it on your addresses. We don't want to fill you up with work. So if you say you are happy, we should leave the address like it is. And if you can scan it and send it out, would be perfect. So addition to that, so we will set a European address, so to here, because even it's World Cup time, and mail in Europe is in 2 days. Mail from here to the US is a few days more. So we make a second address on the website too. So we have the US address and the European address. So some people or some companies, if they are asked for where can I bring my money in, they can send it to Europe address too.
My only recommendation there, Olaf, is that either you approve that as an action item today, and we, well, let's see, you don't 1, 2, 3, yeah, you do have a quorum. So I would put that as an action item, and I would vote on it if you want to do that today, or if you want to do it at the next board meeting, so that it's official. Otherwise, if you
right,
that's a voted item in my opinion. That's just my humble opinion, so take it for what it's worth. But
it's the procedure.
Yeah, I would recommend that you, if it were me, I would say, Sherry, put that on the next next agenda for the board of directors meeting, and we'll vote on that to make sure that it's official, so that it's recognized and put in the minutes.
Can't he motion it right now though?
Yeah, he could. But Olaf, do you know how to motion something? I can teach you. It's really easy if it's of interest.
But teach me. Okay,
so you would word it this way, and since I'm still running the meeting, I can go ahead and word it. So I would say, I motion that we leave the ISPA headquarters at the current address that it resides in the United States, and create a secondary European address, which Olaf will create at the city of his choosing in Europe for information traveling there. Further, that any correspondence that goes to the headquarters address, that Rob and his staff scan and email to us in a timely manner, and then someone would second it if they would agree. So, Anybody?
I can't second.
I will second it.
Okay, so then Bo seconds it. That means 2 people have agreed, and then I would tell Sherry to call roll of the current board of directors for the vote, and if it's approved, it's official at that point. So, Sherry, call roll for that vote, please.
Okay. Let's see. For that vote, we are going to ask Van Ryzen, who's absent. Jen Kravost.
Yes.
Sherry Ozdemir, yes. Olaf Funke.
Yes.
And Ralph Luther. You there, Ralph?
Ralph, you gotta turn your mic.
Sorry, yes, I have a very noisy printer, so yes.
Okay, great.
Problem.
So then
yes from all.
At that point, that's passed and that's official at that point. So that's how that works. Someone will make a motion to do something, and then another person will say, I second that motion, and then from that time it gets voted on immediately.
One more thing, Olaf. Between the wording and the seconding, you might reword it, right? Maybe there'll be some discussion.
Again, please.
Sure. Between when someone states what the motion is, they say we want to do this, and someone seconding it, you might get some debate, that the wording's not right, and you need to reword it, and then you might motion something else. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, the way that it would work is if you said, I motion that we keep the address at this address, and you maybe stated it wrong, someone would say, that's not the correct address, and then you would say, I cancel that motion, or I amend my motion to be this.
Right.
And you can do that. But the reason that you do this is because this gives you the ability to talk about things without actually holding a vote. So anything that's in the action item area on your agenda should be specifically for things that are going to be voted on. It gives people a structure and a way to deal with this. This is how there's a book that was written, I don't know, 100 years ago. I mean, maybe even more, called Robert's Rules of Order. You can look it up anywhere. I'm sure there's a German translation, but it's basically it's how to function a meeting like this so that everybody's on the same page. It's not complex. It gives you a structure so that people know, okay, wow, they called a vote on this. That means it's official. Because if you say something and you don't actually call a vote on it, then you're going to have controversy where people say, well, they didn't vote or they didn't do this or they didn't do that. And this kind of keeps that at bay. So I encourage you to take a look at it. If you do things differently in Germany, I would encourage you to incorporate whatever rules that you normally do. But that's the way that it's the way that all meetings in the United States are held that way if they are official in some official capacity. So with that said, that's been passed and it's official. So there you go, Olaf, it's done. So
Robert's Book of Order.
Robert's Rules of Order, yeah.
Rules.
Yeah, and by the way, it's not me. It's not Robert. So, okay, with that said, I would like to move to board member comments. And this is where I usually give each, before we close the meeting, I give each person a chance to just say anything they want to say. And it's a comment because these are recorded, so it goes out to everybody. So we'll start this time with Bo.
Oh, with me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. I got not much to say because I will welcome the new board members, and I hope we have a great time together again. And the last 2 years were very great for me. And thanks, Rob and Steve, for everything you've done. And yes, I think we will move forward with the sports, and that's the important thing.
Okay, perfect. Steve.
I had some unfortunate news regarding the Bay Area effort. They put it on hold, and so it's going to be for an undetermined amount of time. We were hoping to revitalize some Segway Polo in the Northern California area, but I don't know what's going to happen at this point, if anything. We did make some good headway with insurance companies. So I do think we have some insurance companies lined up for Segway Polo should any of our members need it.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic news. Does that cover worldwide as well?
No, I'm just saying we got the contacts ready to go, so when someone wants to move forward and pay some insurance premiums, these guys we have at least one opportunity to set up insurance for either an event, or in this case it was going to be for a whole series of events, right, down in the Bay Area.
Okay.
Right.
One of the things and Bo, I know you've been part of this, but one of the things we should continue I hope the board will continue on is looking for those benefits that we've all been trying to figure out from a member standpoint, and specifically the insurance benefit is great.
Or suppliers for equipment like the balls, the mallets, even those inflatable goals, right?
Yeah, all sorts would be fantastic.
Right. I'd like to express my appreciation, Rob, for you giving me as many opportunities as I've had here to serve on the board. Bo and Sherry, it's been a real pleasure working with you. Alexander, if you're hearing this in the recording, I'm going to miss our talks. And to Olaf and Ralph, take good care of it.
Thanks, Steve. Sherry.
Well, likewise, I'm sorry to see the board members leaving, Rob and Steve, although I will certainly see Steve all the time anyway. But I do welcome the new pace of the board, and I'm looking forward to see the direction that Olaf takes us and the influence that Ralph brings as well. And hopefully we can continue to make wonderful progress with the board. That's it.
All right, great. Thank you. Ralph, do you have any closing comments for the board?
No, just want to thank you for getting through the tax-free status and all the work you've done in the last 2 years. I hope you stay engaged in the sport. I hope you, I understand you have some health issues that may prevent you from playing, but I would encourage one of the challenges we've had here with the sport, both on the financing side and the participation outside of the field playing activity, is that the sport is so young. We don't have a generation yet of retired players who will give some of their time and resources to keeping the sport going. So I hope that maybe you'll be part of that first generation that will continue to support Segway Polo, even though you may not be able to play. If you can play again, that would be even better.
He'd make a great coach.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Olaf, you, sir.
Yeah, I always say thank you for the last board of directors. So the work with 501c3. I need to learn this.
You'll get it.
In German, it's much easier. So I can understand what it means, and now let's try to raise funds for that. I like every baby. If you give it in another hand, some things will be changed in the future, of course, because the baby is growing up and it is a teenager now. And let's make it an adult.
Great. So I have the last, I guess. This is heartfelt for me. This is good and sad at the same time. So during the past 2 years, we as a collective board of directors have spent time creating really a functioning and sustainable organization. We didn't work a lot on the sport of Segway Polo. We worked on the organization. We worked hard to create a really strong foundation, and the entire goal of that was to allow for future boards to work in a stabilized environment. We want to make sure that future boards have the ability to communicate in a transparent way to the membership, ultimately, which they serve, the board of directors serves. So I think there's still a lot of work that needs to be done in continuing to build on that organization, but I think we've accomplished a tremendous number of those goals. And in the last 2 years, the board of directors have accomplished several, including we've established the ISPA as a legal corporation. We opened the first ISPA bank account. We drafted a new rules committee structure, and we implemented that new rules committee structure, and that group has been meeting to help formulate new rules, and that drives our sport. We've implemented a new member tracking system and a communication system called Teamer, which allows us to track the memberships, player information, and also gives us the ability to provide timely communication with the membership. We recently acquired the domain name of segpolo.org, and that was a long time coming, and that has been officially transferred over to the ISPA's domain registrar account. We established a new website on what I call 1.0, which just means that it needs work, but it's a foundation again. We established a new website, and one of the things in the new website that was lacking was a secure member login area. We established a single holding place for all things electronic that are ISPA related on box.com. For the first time, we began a professional relationship with Segway Incorporated, and it is definitely strengthening our bond with Segway as a brand and with Segway as a potential sponsor for our sport, and that's one of the things that we're really excited about. As we've talked about today on the call, we established the ISPA as a United States nonprofit corporation under the revenue code of 501c3, simply meaning that the ISPA will not pay taxes on money it earns, and that any person who gives donations to the ISPA will be able to reduce their tax amount by that amount. And I bet there's a lot more that I can't think of, but being part of the ISPA has been extremely rewarding for me, and I'm really proud to have served all of the amazing people that are members. Although I am retiring as a player due to a ankle injury from a long time ago and surgery that corrected that injury recently, but doesn't allow me to potentially get hurt playing. So I will stay involved. Ralph, I like the way you put that as a sort of retiring player, and not only that, I hope to be one of the people that continues to give to the ISPA financially and to try to help them along as well. Now that my company will be able to write that off as a tax donation, that will be a lot easier for me to do. So I will still be involved, and I think it's just that I've made so many friends in this community, and it really has become a family of Segway Polo. It's just it's been a great thing. It's been a family. So my encouragement moving forward is that I want to encourage each and everyone to continue to operate this organization like a family. There's going to be arguments. There will be disagreements, but like a family, we always come back together for the good of everyone. I know that the new board is capable and that their love for the sport is undeniable. So I encourage all of the membership to work with them and show them the respect, for they are working for you as volunteers, and they're working entirely for the members to ensure that the Segway Polo continues to grow worldwide. I would like to personally thank every board member that worked their stinking tail off with me, and that does not. And that does not. It doesn't mean that they didn't work hard. We've established so many different things, and everyone was trying to figure out how we do what we're going to do. And my goal list at the beginning of starting this thing was lofty. It was large and cumbersome, and I think over time we melded as a team and worked really, really well together and accomplished a lot. So thank you very much, Bo and Steve and Sherry and Alexander and past board member Steve Long and Jamie, who we would not have been able to do anything without the way that she helped structure our agenda and all of the things that are associated with that. And lastly, I would just like to thank every member that's part of the ISPA for allowing me to serve you guys and for believing in a little bit of craziness over the last 2 years. But I think we've built a good foundation and we will move forward. So with that said, I will close my final and the ongoing International Segway Polo Association Board of Directors meeting for Tuesday, January 20th, 2015. Steve?